Jerry Springer Fights Camera Action is a new two-part documentary on Netflix. So today, let's see if it's worth your time. Hey everybody, my name's Justin. All I do here is watch movies and shows in theaters and on streaming services. This jaw-dropping documentary goes behind the scenes of America's most controversial talk show to expose its biggest scandals both on and off screen. If you grew up as a teenager in the late 90s, early 2000s, I'm sure at one point you watched Jerry Springer.
Brittany, what's going on?
I am here to let it be known I am in love with my nephew.
What?
It was all over the place. I remember coming home from middle school and my stepfather was unemployed a brief period of time when I was in middle school, and he was watching Jerry Springer. I would sit down and watch it with him as well. It's not like the best show ever, but there was just something about it that was captivating. Like, I was drawn to watching Jerry Springer. And that's what this documentary series really dives into, is how popular the show was and how people just wanted more of it. Many critics, many people that worked on talk shows called this trash television. And they were fully aware of that, and they wanted to be trash television so people would come back and watch it. And you had people constantly fighting on screen, just very bizarre stories throughout. And this documentary, two-part documentary series, they have interviews with people that worked on the show and some troubles that they had along the way, trying to have genuine storylines and dealing with people saying often that it was scripted, but they often talked about the heat that they got. And many times people confronted them about their television show and that it was just trash, and they would never amount to much within it. But as the series did become more popular, they had more fights on the show, more people just having these really crazy stories that they had to tell on the Jerry Springer show. So I like that this documentary series, this 2-episode documentary series, really started to focus on some of the troubles on and off screen as well. Some of the limitations that they had as the show did become more popular. They had to work around certain things, and Jerry Springer started to have some allegations against him as well, and it just fueled the show, and people enjoyed working on it and people really disliked working on it. So you get a wide variety of different interviews of people that appreciated working on the show and the people that really kind of regretted working on this series. I think that it is weird that it was just a 2-part documentary with each episode about 45-ish minutes long. You really could have just billed this as a documentary film. I don't know why they just would have it as 2 episodes. Typically, Netflix documentaries are 3 episodes each, and so I was a bit surprised to see that it was just a 2-episode documentary series. But within these 2 episodes, you do get the right amount of interviews, people that worked on the show. You get to see the crazy work that went into it and all of the people that, and they have a lot of clips of the show, people shouting Jerry constantly, which I remember watching from the show. You have interviews with people that were on the show, so you're just really able to capture the chaotic energy that the Jerry Springer show did bring, good and bad. You have a nice insight into it all. But also there's a side of it that I didn't really think about as a teenager when I watched it, is that people wanted to tell their story in hopes that Jerry Springer would give them advice. And there is a scene in here that they said that this wasn't Jerry Springer's job. He wasn't there to give you advice. He was there to make fun of you and have the audience react to it all. Never really thought about that as a teenager, so it's really interesting to see it now as an adult and what the show accomplished, and also not having Jerry Springer give advice like a typical talk show host. He was there to have your story be told to the audience and just make fun of it all. Real quick, if you're interested in seeing Jerry Springer Fights Camera Action on Netflix, give this video a thumbs up. And if you haven't seen the series, Comment down below with your overall thoughts on this documentary series. If you'd like to see more exclusive content from me, consider joining my channel as a member, and there you could unlock exclusive movie reviews and ranking videos. Well, I thought this was a fun documentary series on Netflix. One problem I had kind of come towards the end of the second episode is that it starts to focus on someone that was involved in the show, that appeared on it as a guest, and they had some issues with their personal life after this all. Kind of gloss over certain guests that were involved on the show that had some problems after the show. I think that could have been a whole nother episode, because it is quite interesting to see how this show did affect certain people, especially the guests. That could have been a whole entire episode, just pulling in a lot more guests that were willing to share their story again, have a focus on all of that, what the show did to them, good and bad, how it affected their lives, because you could have probably, I don't know, a good handful of people that could tell their story and how the Jerry Springer show affected them. So when you get to the second episode and you start to transition into a story involving a guest on the show and their son now telling the story of their mother, that could lead to some emotion and some personal aspect to the show that really could have added a lot of depth to this documentary series. So I honestly thought it could have been 3 episodes, kind of the first episode focusing on the show, it coming to television, the second episode looking at all of the hype and as its progression and it became really popular, some troubles along the way, and then the third episode interviewing people that were involved on the show as a guest and just them sharing their stories. So that is a big issue for me. So overall, it does feel like it's a very quick series. Like I said, it could have been structured as a movie and it would just been fine, but having it just 2 episodes, it feels like there is something missing. You could have had much more of a personal aspect to it if you had more people that were involved, if you had more people that were guests on the show telling their story. But I did think it was fun matching that chaotic energy from the Jerry Springer show. You have a lot of clips, you have a lot of insight into what went on. It brought light to a lot of what was going on in the show and things I really didn't even think about as a teenager. So it was really interesting to watch it as an adult. I'm gonna go ahead and give Jerry Springer Fights Camera Action a B-. Thank you guys for checking my review for the new documentary series on Netflix. Have you guys seen it by chance? What do you think about it? Let me know in the comment section down below, and stay tuned for more up and coming content like this. My name is Justin Watches Movies, and you guys stay classy, YouTube.